What is going on, community? It is TJ, aka Flash by Night, and we are here keeping up with the comics. And I want to go ahead and jump into the book I'm keeping up with, and it is Masters of the Universe Revelation, issue number 2 from Dark Horse. Of course, we all know it is a prequel to the Netflix series that we've all heard of and mostly watched, for better or worse. I'll leave that opinion up to you. But before we get started on the review of Masters of the Universe Revelation issue number 2, I'm going to say that I did watch the Netflix series. I do have thoughts, but the thoughts that I have are not going to be reflected here. I am going to leave that for the show. But if you want my thoughts on the show, you can see them right here. Now, that being said, the issue number 2 of Masters of the Universe Revelation, it's kind of an origin story for Skeletor. Believe it or not, I don't know if Skeletor has had an origin story. I know a lot of people leading up to and through this show have talked about the 2002-2003 series that I didn't watch because I was kind of out of television back then. So I don't know much about Skeletor's background. I don't know if this is a retcon or whether this is new history. But we start off with Skeletor addressing his people, letting his people, his horde, know that there's the creature that, of course, in the first issue, this Orlax creature that attacked King Randor, and the Orlax creature has a whole lot of history in Eternia with the royal family, having taken one of the children of King Grayskull in the first issue, which I believe may or may not be a retcon from the traditional storytelling. But the Orlax attacks King Randor, and we find out that it's some kind of psychic being also, and so it's actually attacking people's minds. But it itself is not under its own control. It's not there to actually hurt people, but it's being used. And it's kind of being used by Skeletor to recon. Getting my terms mixed up. It's there to recon information about the magic in Eternia, but let Evelyn tell it. She can no longer get in touch with the Orlax because it is in the possession of the sorceress in Castle Grayskull, and as long as the sorceress has a hold of the Orlax, Evelyn can't get to it. And so they have a talk back and forth about magic, and she senses that Skeletor is worried about magic, and she says that she can conjure up tons. It's limitless. Why is Skeletor treating it like a limited resource? And this kind of leads to Skeletor telling his origin story, and he has kind of I'm gonna say a standard type of origin story. I say standard because in the beginning of the IDW run on Transformers, Megatron has kind of the same origin story, where they both started off as slaves, but kind of led an uprising against their oppressors. But then, of course, once they get power, power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. And so Skeletor, once he frees his people, that freedom comes with a cost really close to him. And B, power corrupts. And that's what happens. Skeletor starts to go down a dangerous path leading to where he is present day. Also, we get introduced to Hordak, and he is really interesting and really involved in Skeletor's origin. And as I say, Skeletor's origin kind of leads up to present day, to the now tyrant he is, where he had recently freed himself and his people from tyrants. It's kind of that cycle that you see a lot of times. But in the end, after his story, you kind of get the feeling that Evelyn doesn't believe him. She thinks that, he's, for some reason, he's not telling the truth. She doesn't trust his story that these things happened, and he kind of, I guess, goes along with it and lets it slip a little bit. But maybe she may be right. She may be wrong. Who knows? But we basically get the question of whether or not Skeletor is lying about his origin in this book, which is actually pretty important. But if you remember what I said about Evelyn in the beginning of the book, Skeletor may not be the only one lying, because Evelyn may actually be able to get to the Orlax. And that is the end of Masters of the Universe Revelations issue number 2. And it was a pretty standard book. It wasn't great, but it was all right. I enjoyed the little bit of background on Skeletor, even if I've seen it before. And it looks like there's some dissension in the ranks. We kind of, know what to expect by the time the show comes on. But there's some mistrust there either way. So, I would suggest, if you want to know more about what leads up to the show, of course, to pick up Revelations issue 1 and 2. But it's not something that you'll regret missing out on if you don't read it. But if you'd like to, go ahead, check out Masters of the Universe Revelation issue number 2. I think I gave away a few more spoilers than I'm used to, but we'll have to let that ride for now. And that was Keeping Up with the Comics. I hope you saw something you liked. I hope you enjoyed yourself. If you did enjoy yourself, of course, hit the like button. And if you want to keep up with me, Keeping Up with the Comics, go ahead, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Always feel free to leave comments, especially about this book and what it kind of leads to. I love to engage the community, no matter what the opinions are. Everybody's opinions to me are valid, and we like to engage and have fun around here. So I am going to leave it as I always do. Love yourself, love others, and I will be back in a flash.